everybody, KC0VI Tom here. This is going to be kind of a weird video, weirder than normal we'll say. The other day I was at the hardware store picking up some stuff for a project here that weekend, and a buddy of mine, he's on the fire department, volunteer fire department here in St. Anne's here, came over to me and said, hey, you got to do that video. I don't care what you feel like, what's going on, you got to do the video. I go, okay, what are we talking about? No, you know what I'm talking about. You get out there, you make that video this week, so it's real important that people do this. And I says, okay, and he went off to the paint section where his wife was. Well, she was already down in the paint section, was coming around looking for him. She seen the two of us talking and saw that look on my face like, what is he talking about? She kind of looked at me and says, you know he watches your video. I go, no, I didn't know that. What do you mean? He goes, oh, every Friday night he gets home from work and you don't talk to me. He goes right in there and watches it. Have you ever thought about sending him to therapy? I mean, you may want to think about that. Then I had to think a little bit about that. What he was talking about, the last video we're talking about, what I wanted to do is make a video about when the time change is a good reminder to change the batteries in your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, but I was having some mental issues, so I didn't do any video that weekend. I kind of felt bad about it. Well, he's right. The more I think about it, ta-da, here we are. It's going to be Thanksgiving week. Good indication. Just remember, hey, at Thanksgiving time, I got to make sure I put in new batteries in the smoke detector so this is ready to go when somebody's making that turkey. Remember, ladies, when this goes off, that turkey's more than done. Christy. It is required by code in a lot of places to have a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector on every floor of your dwelling, especially around your sleeping quarters. I mean, some places in the code states it must be in so many feet of that sleeping area. But, these things are inexpensive. They do good work. They last a long time. When I get these, I always check the back. I put a date on there. I don't know if you can read this. This is November 13th of 2021. I installed this. This one is actually manufactured, manufactured 2020 of October 30th. And it says right on here, this is good for 10 years. So this will be good till 2030. Right now it's 20, that's about 6 years. This is installed in 21. So this thing actually sat in a warehouse or a store shelf for about a year before I got a hold of it. And what they do, this one takes two 9-volt batteries. Due to the fact one 9-volt battery is for the detector and the other one is for a light. If you've ever been in a house that has a fire inside, it builds up a lot of smoke. And even a little light like this, and this is usually over the stairwell or somewhere in an exit, in that location, you can get your way through. In a fire, in a house fire, you really don't want to try to turn the lights on due to the fact could be electrical fire. That may spread the fire, or the electrical panel may be burnt out, or power's been disconnected. You may not have electricity, so that's why I go with these. Smoke detectors do come with CO detectors built in, but I haven't found one that has a light yet built in, so you have all three functions. That's why I have a smoke, carbon monoxide separate. This is also made by Kidder, and this is not a Kidder commercial. This is just, they make good equipment. I'm a satisfied customer. This one is neat. It has a little LED readout. You can hit your peak, and it'll tell you, at one time I had 28 parts per million. The higher parts per million, you have less time for that exposure level to make you pass out, make you become overcome by carbon monoxide. You can actually be in the area longer on the lower parts per million, but it's a slow buildup in your system. Carbon monoxide is easier held by your blood than oxygen and will not give it up. This is a sheet I gave to my students in the HVAC program when I was teaching. It explains what carbon monoxide is, how it's created, and how much level can you be exposed to before it becomes serious. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless, and tasteless gas. It's produced by incomplete combustion. Anytime you see a yellow flame on a fire, that's an indication of carbon monoxide being produced. Most fireplaces, you'll see that yellow flame on a wood-burning fireplace, but it's vented properly, so all that carbon monoxide gas is going outside. That is why it's important to make sure those appliances are operating correctly. At 50 parts per million, you can be exposed 8 hours, no ill effect. 200, you'll get a headache after 2 to 3 hours. 400, you have headaches and nausea after 1 to 2 hours. 800, you get nausea and headaches and dizziness in 45 minutes. Loss of consciousness after 1 hour. 1,000 parts per million, loss of consciousness after an hour. 1,600, headache, dizziness after 20 minutes. 1,600, headaches, dizziness after 20 minutes of exposure. 3,200, after 5 to 10 minutes. A loss of consciousness after 30. At 6,400, headaches within 2 minutes. Possible death after 15 minutes of exposure. And at 1,280, you can lose loss of consciousness and possible death in 1 to 3 minutes. The cure for carbon monoxide poisoning is they put you in a hyperbolic chamber and give you pure oxygen and force that carbon monoxide out of your system. Every class, I always had one student that was, we called them the parakeet because they were really susceptible to the exposure. And you always had one kid that was, he could breathe it all day. It didn't seem to affect him. And it didn't matter what their body was like. I had students that were skinny and overweight, and it had the same effect on them. So, and just put in carbon monoxide poisoning, and it's a lot. There's a lot of stories. This is something that should not be happening. Again, these aren't too bad. I think I paid like $19 or $20 for these. This one does run on a wall wart, 120 volts AC, but it does have a 9-volt battery backup. So it's real simple. What I do, I go out and buy a blister pack of these 9-volt batteries. I'll take all the smoke detectors down and the carbon monoxide detectors, bring them in here. And besides putting the date when I install it, I also put where it came from. When you got all three of these sitting on the table, it's easy to get a mix up. It's just make sure you get the one back where it was at. But what I have found out is besides smoke, a high dust environment will set these off, and a high humidity environment will set these off. And we used to have the greenhouse operation here in the fall and the spring when it was cold outside, but it was a sunny day. Those buildings will warm up, and if you don't do some of that heat, the ventilators will open up and just kick that heat outside. What we used to do is open up the hallways to the house and put a fan upstairs in one of the bedroom windows and draw that heat in. To kind of, you could heat the house with just the cost of running a fan. If we were out there watering and that large amount of humidity came in here, it would set these off. Or if she was grinding soil, the amount of dust coming in here would set it off. So we had to make sure when we were grinding soil to have everything closed up and allow that building to be ventilated outside. So again, it is extremely important. This is something that is required by code in a lot of places to have a fire or a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector. It's easy to hang up a couple screws and you snap in. It's easy to change out the batteries. A lot of the new ones are hardwired into your electrical system, so you don't have to worry about changing batteries. But if you live in an old house like I got here, you still have to rely on the 9-volt battery. It is something I cannot stress enough for you guys to do this, to have these installed. It is, you could save your own life and the life of your family. So if you ever see anybody who has passed some carbon monoxide, it is not pretty. So 7-3. Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, other hams. Subscribe, hit that bell to get notification when new videos come out. Add comments below. 7-3, everybody.